Thanks, Kathy. It's good to be in Waco. I'm born and raised in I-35. I'm from Dallas originally, and I came to Baylor in undergrad back in '92, which is a while back, right? Then I went off back to Austin and worked in Austin for a few years and decided I wanted an MBA. So I came back to Baylor and got an MBA. Oh, could you keep the lights on? Well, for me, because I'm... Can you have a... Okay. Let's just see. Let's test it, okay? Can you see that one? 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 That one? So it... Uh-oh. It's over. Like that? And I'm done. It's over. Just look at the confluence of things that are happening in 2009. We have wild economic downturn. We have the proliferation of digital tools like we've never seen before. And so these things are doing a couple things to our clients. They're actually making clients a lot more focused on the bottom line than they have ever been before. I mean, clients always tell you they're focused on the bottom line. Today they're focused on the bottom line like they've never been before. They care about cost cutting like they've never cared before. And they don't want to spend their money on things that they don't know is going to work. Which actually leads us to a couple of interesting things. Because there is a faith that they have in the things that they did in the past. So we use historical data to make informed decisions about the future, isn't that right? But whenever your historical data is based on tools that may or may not continue to work the way that they've always worked, and in areas that may or may not be measurable, like people want them to be measurable, there's a higher level and a degree of demand on accountability. Viral videos are in, and I'll tell you what's out. What's out is anything that's not measurable, anything that is difficult to track, anything that you can't show a client, here's the money you're putting in, and here's what we think with all of our data will show us what the return on investment will be, and then measurement over time where you actually are able to say, yep, we delivered here, we delivered here, we delivered here. In our human history, we've really gone through four paradigm shifts, radical paradigm shifts in how we communicate. So we went from oral to print in 1450 when Gutenberg invented the printing press. And all of a sudden, instead of just one person telling somebody a story and being able to interact with that person, have feedback, and then stories morphing and changing over time, because it was an analog means of communication, right? So it was never a perfect replication. It was always imperfect, like playing telephone. You ever play telephone? The story starts one way on one side of the table. By the time you get to the other side of the room, it's a different story altogether. So that's what we all communicated by telephone, a huge worldwide global game of telephone for thousands of years. And then Gutenberg, not Steve Gutenberg, the other Gutenberg, invented the printing press in 1450 and started printing up Bibles and distributing Bibles, which was really, it was earth-shattering at the time. Won't go into all the reasons why it's earth-shattering, but it changed the way we thought about God. It changed the way we thought about life. It changed the way that we it changed everything about the way that we thought. And these paradigm shifts are always discontinuous. They're always disruptive. They're always earth-shattering because they change the way that people think. And people born under one shift or under one paradigm, they really speak and think and communicate completely different than people who are raised and born under another paradigm. And then broadcast, I pegged that at 1902 whenever Marconi sent his transatlantic radio signal. Of course, it got even more so with television. Interesting thing is my granddad was born in 1899, so he was born right before the radio signal. My mom was born right before television, or right around the time television came to pass. And my kids were born in a digital age. So in just really one lifetime, if you count my mom's lifetime, in one lifetime we saw people travel from primarily print to broadcast and now to digital paradigm. And it's wildly disruptive, wildly. And we're only now in 2009 really feeling all the dramatic effects of this because of the economic turmoil that we're experiencing. And so, we can go through a little bit about this. The oral is 1-to-1, right? Print is 1 to many. Broadcast is 1 to the multitudes. And broadcast, I think, is the one that we really have to focus on the most. Because today, even though we are living in a digital age, we still market and communicate based upon a broadcast paradigm. So even if we're online, what are we doing? We're sending e-blasts to people, which is a 1-to-many communication, right? It's 1 to the multitudes. It's not 1-to-1. It may be addressable. It may be personalized, but it's still 1 to the multitudes. It's not a personalized direct message. We are putting up banner advertising, which is really like a billboard, but it's on a computer screen, right? So it is a broadcast medium. The whole basis of the reason why it even came to be is because we were thinking in a broadcast paradigm and we're trying to apply broadcast tools to a digital world. And I'm saying those things work with lesser and lesser degrees of success as the years go by. Oral tradition, print, broadcast, and digital, they all overlap. But we still need print. Print still has a place. Last year we made some TV commercials. They worked well. TV and radio broadcast, they still have a place. Communication from one to the multitude still is important. That's why we have a presidential address and it's televised, because it's an important way to get information. But it lacks so many different areas. And so now we are in a digital age with new tools that have just been dumped in front of our house, and the driver drove away and there's no instructions and we see a box. And what do? We have some very important tools that have emerged. One is search as a tool. Search, what it does is disruptive because it allows people to find businesses instead of businesses being able to control, how they receive them, how they present themselves. So while a business can have a shingle online and people can search it and find it, for instance, if you have let's say an older generation website that's not searchable, that it's hard for people to find your products, your services, or learn about you, they're going to quickly find a competitor who is searchable and has built their communications pipeline in such a way that can be found. But what search does is it really puts the steering wheel firmly in the grasp of the consumer. So it means that customers drive everything and producers drive very little. This is completely different from the way it used to be. You've all eaten Cap'n Crunch, I think, right? Probably. I've eaten Cap'n Crunch. I don't like it anymore, but I used to eat it. Cap'n Crunch, interesting, first thing they did, they drew the Cap'n, they made the box, they shot the TV commercial, then they decided what the cereal would be, and then they sold it. It was the TV industrial complex, and so they had they made the TV commercial first because advertising worked so well in that age that all they had to do was put a Cap'n on TV and kids would buy the cereal. It was done. Today, it's not that way. It's not that way in a big way. Today, it's completely different because consumers are in the driver's seat. Today, because we have the Web 2.0, which is user-created content, feedback loops, blogs, social networks, we actually have the ability to hear from our customers and hear very blatant, rude, visceral comments from our worst customers and hear very few really great comments from our best customers. And this can be a problem if you don't really don't do your job well. But the good thing about a feedback loop is if you really just trust and now accept this new paradigm that we have a higher degree of transparency and the feedback loops are really important. Now all of a sudden your worst customers are really your quality control department because they tell you how bad you're doing. They make a post on Yelp and they say, this guy is terrible. This moving company broke all my glass, or this air conditioning company charged me $8,000 and I found I could get it for $2,000. I hate those guys. And your best customers are your advertisers. So we have Web 2.0, user-created content, YouTube. So it's no longer stupid videos about people, snorting cayenne pepper and, videotape them, or kids getting kicked. It's no longer America's Funniest Home Video on YouTube. Now YouTube is a way to hear back from customers. People post their comments, they post their thoughts, and they share them with the world. And the world is getting bigger and it's getting small at the same time.